our children and serve you throughout our lifetimes, keeping your commandments and doing your will. We pray that you would have your way today in this meeting. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I'll say it again. That is the most awesome sound that there is. A room full of people pledging their allegiance to this country. Oh, am I running it over now? Especially 2 days before 9/11. So, okay, at this time, any person with business before the court not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the court. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. So if you want to speak on something that's on the agenda, please wait until we get to that item. But if you have something that's not on the agenda, you can speak to it now. Yes, sir.
I'll go.
Play mine.
Good morning. First, I'd like to take a moment and thank this court for adding the reserve account to the chart of accounts. The remainder of my comments this morning will be on the revenues generated by the new rate.
Mr. Madison, that's going to be on the.
Okay, you want me to skip that part then and go to this other meat and bones?
Sure.
With the continued decline of oil production, lower and stagnant crop prices, higher crop production costs, the continued expansion of the Scurry County government and associated budgets, it is clear at this point that the revenue generated by the increase of the mineral reserve evaluations, that the taxpayer will be left in the future to pick up the slack as the revenue falls off. This is not something the ordinary taxpayer should be faced with. This court has the opportunity to set a more conservative budget narrative. I just don't have faith that this court has the ability to do so, but I would like to be proved wrong. As taxpayers, we are not angry at this court. However, we are very disappointed in the overall performance. We understand that some members of this court are new and they were dealt a lousy hand. We believe that a higher tax revenue is not the answer to the spending problem that was created over the last decade and beyond. We do, however, expect that this court listen and act in the best interest of the majority of the taxpayers. There's a false narrative started during the last session which stated, and I quote, "These are about the raises," end quote. As stated previously, raises were never mentioned until the end. The county government size should directly correlate with the county population. If it did this, raises at this time might not be an issue. But coupled by the points from above, raises only add insult to the injury. We understand that the county court should have never invested working reserves without voter approval. Over the past decade, we could make a list of things that should have never been done. Out of respect for the new members of the court, I will not do that at this time. But the points will remain valid and pertinent to this current situation. President Trump has proven that continued tax cuts will, in effect, inject stimulus into an economy. He has also cut the size of government, and we are able to see that it operates the same with the reduction in staffing. What we don't follow is this court's resistance to those policies used on a local scale. Every member of this court was elected as a Republican, which is a conservative institution. Was it a tactic to get elected? Whatever the case may be, it is a false representation of one's person. I ran on of party beliefs. To run on a platform of party beliefs and then do the opposite is wrong.
Okay, Mr. Moss, that's your 3 minutes. Thank you.
I have a copy if anybody wants.
Okay, and any other comments at this time on anything that is not on the agenda?
I do. In regards to size of Scurry County government, I just put together some information regarding some other local governments. Scurry County has approximately 196 employees. And based on the census data, that leaves us with about 0.011 employees per person. We take that and use the same information for Mitchell County. Scurry County would have approximately 155 employees. Same information for Nolan County. It would make Scurry County approximately 131 employees. Taylor County, again, much larger, I understand that, but using the same per capita formula, about 70 employees in Scurry County. So the per capita employees for Scurry County is about, if we took out Scurry County and just averaged Mitchell, Nolan, and Taylor, per capita, it would be about 119, and we're at 196. Just wanted to throw out that maybe the actual size of the Scurry County government is a little bit too large for the population of Scurry County.
Thank you. Okay, anything else that's not on the agenda? Yes, sir.
I'd like to thank the citizens that take the time to come up here. A bunch of them have hourly jobs to speak, and they have to take off. And anyway, it's good that they can do that. I thank God I don't have to do that, take off from my job. But another thing I want to mention, I don't know how many people read Bill Chris' column in the Snyder Daily News over the weekend, but he was spot on it. If you haven't taken time to read it, I wish you would read it, because it makes a lot of sense. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. West. Okay, are there any other comments before we move on to agenda items? Okay. Presentation and discussion of department head, committee, and board reports. Do you have any questions on any of these board reports? They all look pretty standard. You don't need to vote on that, correct?
No, they stand approved.
Court to consider approval of previous court to consider approval of previous court minutes.
Judge, I read the minutes, so if we can make a motion that we approve court minutes as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Court to consider declaring September National Senior Center Month. Can you talk, can you talk a little bit about this, please?
Yes, I would be happy to talk about our senior center. For those of you who haven't attended our senior center, it's a wonderful, wonderful place. We have good attendance. I want to thank the court. I want to thank the taxpayers of Scurry County and the community of Snyder and Scurry County. Y'all have supported us many, many, many years. The senior center could not be there without the support of everyone. It's a wonderful place, and I brought some of our seniors with us today, and there's not a one of them that I think that you couldn't grab and say, why do you like the senior center? And they couldn't give you a whole laundry list. We serve meals for those, and it's not just about the nutrition you get from a hot meal. It's about the fellowship that you have when you come. We all think everybody has somebody, but a lot of our seniors, their children live far away. We have a family at the senior center. And we have activities for them to come to. We offer transportation to those that are in town that can't get to the grocery store because there's no one to take them. And the senior center provides that transportation. So I'm not gonna get off on the political side of it. Okay, I'm gonna keep this all upbeat. But I just wanna thank the community, thank Scurry County, thank the court. thank our seniors who come down volunteer wise. We have probably 16,000 hours a year that's volunteered at the center that is not paid employees. It's not coming out of anybody's budget. It's just volunteers who come in and give of their time, their talents. We have quilters who are dedicated to coming every day, and people that come and sew, and that goes towards May Day, which helps our bottom line because it gives us enough money for those little extras that aren't in our budget. So we just thank you. The seniors, we all thank you. And it's your tax dollars that's doing that, and they're being put to good use. And I would encourage anybody that can, I don't care if you're 60 or not, come look and see what Scurry County is offering to our seniors, because you will be very impressed. Very impressed. The atmosphere is there. The seniors come. It's a good place. It's a good thing. And speaking to other senior centers, I talked to someone in Breckenridge the other day. We are bar none, our senior center. They want to come see what we've got going, because the director is also the janitor, the bill payer, the everything. And they offer 3 meals. They offer meals 3 times a day. They have 3 times a week. Thank you. Yeah, get nervous, can't talk. And they have 1 domino player. We have 7 teams of Wii Bowling that is bowling in a national senior league that we get and enter our scores every month or every week, and we're bowling against 100 other teams. It's just amazing what Wii Bowling will do for people. Yeah, I actually tried to get more people to come with me today, but there was a group practicing some gospel songs that they're going to sing on Friday. There was a group that was Wii Bowling, and there was a group that was quilting, and they said, no, I got to quilt. And I wasn't going to get them to leave their Wii Bowling game. It just wasn't happening. I didn't even ask that group. So most of all, this is National Senior Center Month. The theme for that is senior centers are the key to aging well. I believe that with all of my heart and soul. It is the key. It gives them a place to come. Everybody needs a reason to get out of bed in the morning. And the senior center for a lot of our people are just that reason. That's why they get up. That's why they get dressed. That's why they put their makeup on, fix their hair, come down there, volunteer, eat, fellowship. There's not a downside to having a senior center in your town. So again, I thank you.
Oh, thank you.
So,
You know, absolutely. I will tell you that I do believe that we have one of the best senior centers in the state, and it all starts with the people who run it, Tammy and her staff and all the volunteers. And I would trade her for no one, and her staff and the volunteers for no one.
it's a team. I don't do it alone.
I know,
It's a team.
but it starts at the top.
Yeah, well, thank
So
you.
thank you so much for everything that you do. And so I'll consider a motion to declaring September National Senior Center Month.
Make the motion, we declare September National Citizen Month.
Second, all in favor? All right, very good. Time is it, Joe? Want to have a picture?
I have my pretty shades because I had cataract surgery. See, I'm almost one of them. Okay.
You know what these guys are.
Yeah, I do.
I think you're right.
Okay, let him take his first. Then okay, I'll take.
Oh, we're looking at Steve's. Are we looking at Luann first?
Okay, look this way first.
Back to Steve.
Would you qualify to operate that?
God, I hope so.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
You're welcome.
Court to discuss and consider approving charity care policy and guidelines of the emergency medical service. Can you speak to this, Jason?
So this is part of the annual supplemental payment program funded by state Medicaid that we voluntarily participate in. It does not cost the taxpayer any money to do this program. It's for government entities to help recoup uncompensated care costs from Medicaid, basically. So they're changing the policy and procedures up a little bit, looking at more of the charity type care. It's a rating system, kind of like the credit score that we're looking at. That's what this policy addresses. County attorneys looked at the policy, approves it, so it's a good policy, and it's just a formality that we have to go through in order to continue in that program. So, yeah, it's a free program, and it just provides revenue, additional revenue. But
Thank you. Any questions?
Make the motion to approve the charity care policy for emergency medical service.
Second.
All in favor?
I'll let you make a copy of that one.
Yes. Do you have the? Yeah. Yep.
Okay, court to discuss and consider implementing a burn ban for Scurry County. Mr. Nathan Hines. I'm sorry, Fire Marshal Nathan Hines.
I've provided each one of you a graph and a map of the fire danger. Just got this from the Forest Service yesterday. If you remember back to 2008, when we had the fire in the south side of town, it went through off the block line, across College Avenue, to the college, all that. We are exactly back in this situation right now. It's dangerous. We do recommend a burn ban. I know we got some rain last night, but we did on August 19th in Fluvanna, we got over an inch. The next day we had a 60-acre grass fire that you could pick up the dirt and there was powder. So our land is super dry. It's gonna take multiple rains to get us back out of this. So this weekend in Colorado City, they had a 3,600-acre grass fire. So conditions are very ripe, thank the Lord. We've been blessed and haven't had one, but the conditions are very ripe for a wildfire. It's mine and the fire chief's recommendation that we put in the burn ban.
I looked at the map last night, and I don't know how many counties there are that do have burn ban. Nathan may know, I don't know if he does, but there are 2 counties beside us, Borden and Kent County, who don't have a burn ban. Everybody else pretty much across the state, there's not maybe 20 counties across the state that don't have a burn ban right now.
And also, if it's not just us that we have a fire, if Austin has another big Bastrop fire, or all these fires that we've been having through the state adds up to the state threshold. And if they meet that threshold and we don't have a burn ban, we could lose some funds from the state and the government. So that's another reason we recommend it, because it's not just Scurry County. If the whole state reaches that threshold, we may lose out on money. So we don't want that. Because 2008 was that exact example.
So I make a motion that we institute a burn ban starting today.
Second. All in favor? We'll go ahead and pass this around so we don't get lost with that. Thank you. Court to discuss and consider placing memorial benches at various county facilities. Barry Martin, we discussed this a little bit a few days ago. Barry's with the Lions Club.
Yeah, I'm with the Lions Club, and we've had 3 members that have been in Snyder Lions Club for 50 years or more, and have died this past year. And we'd like to ask the court to allow us to place some benches, maybe one at Cole Park, maybe one here close to the courthouse or the library. Like I say, just we thank the gentlemen who have done a lot of service and have contributed to this community and to the Lions Club. Deserve that, and their families deserve that memorial.
Can you give us the name?
Howard Harrington, 60 years in the Lions Club.
Okay.
Max Von Roeder, 50+ years. Carl Burleson, 50 years. And Carl was on the hospital board, and I'm sure you all know who Max Von Roeder is. And Howard Harrington started a business here in 1954 and stayed here for 60 years. And like I say, they all passed this last year.
And they all did a lot for our community.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just Lions Club.
That is our motto. We serve. Yes, sir.
And they lived it. Absolutely.
Is this something that the Lions Club really?
Yes, this is something the Lions Club would place, and if it needed concrete underneath it, they
Yeah,
would
we'll do all the
concrete,
work.
they would do everything.
Cost would be on us.
Doesn't that make a motion that we allow the Lions Club to place these benches at the aforementioned places around our community for the memorial for those that have served our county with it?
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. We appreciate you coming in. All right, we're gonna discuss and consider changes to the Commissioners Court quorum. This is the open meeting legislative change. House Bill 2804 passed by the 86th legislature, past legislature, amends current law relating to the right of a member of the public to address the governing body of a political subdivision at an open meeting of the body. So in the past, we've allowed public comment at all of our meetings since January, okay? In February, we adopted these rules of procedure, conduct, and quorum for Commissioners Court. This law coincides with what we have in place, but we have to make a few changes, which are in red on your documents here, and I'll go over those in just a second. The legislative change states that members of the public will be entitled to address all open meetings, not just public hearings. The Commissioners Court may continue to limit the amount of time allotted to the public and may continue to punish the disruption of the meeting. The public will continue to get 5 minutes each to speak on each agenda item. This is still a court, and while the public is allowed to express their opinion, including criticism of any act, omission, policy, procedure, program, or service of Scurry County Commissioners Court, profane, insulting, or threatening language directed toward the court or any person in the court's presence will not be tolerated. So there was a minor change on the first page of this. It says we meet on Mondays. We don't meet on Mondays. We meet on Tuesdays. So fix that. Another portion says that only the first 6, we're going with time allocated. That's one of the changes that was suggested. And then taking out a representative of a group may appoint one of their speakers to still be able to do that, but we're striking that. Striking for a particular member of the public says either shorten or lengthen the time allocated. For a particular member, we're striking for a particular member. And then in E, we're adding these rules do not prohibit public criticism of the Commissioners Court, including criticism of any act, commission, policy, procedure, program, or service. And those are really the only changes. Like I said, it's still going to be, we're still allowing public comment. The legislature has basically said will allow, which is what we've been doing. So we just have to make the mind.
Make the motion to approve the changes in the Commissioners Court quorum.
Second.
All in favor? I'll go ahead and get this one signed and we'll pass it around too. This one never get lost.
Program that we have to apply for each year, that on certain approved repairs and stuff at the airport, we get reimbursed 50%. Free money back on repairs that we done. Suggested applying it.
Okay, we've been using it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
I think as long as we have an airport, that it definitely needs to be maintained. I'm just glad that we do have funds that the state of Texas, Texas Aviation gives to us to be able to help us in doing that. We've had many businesses that have flown into the airport and they use it quite often. And I'm proud to have it. So I make a motion that we allow the maintenance program to continue.
All in favor? You need a copy, you need this, Beverly?
I'm sure I'll get him a copy.
All right, for to discuss and consider bids on tax deeds and property cards for trust property in the city of Snyder. This is the same as the tax deeds we had before. This is basically where, we have properties that have been seized for taxes and they are online, bid for online, and someone has put a bid in, and we're just basically accepting their bid along with the other taxing entities. We set this up to where it's once a month at the beginning of the month instead of spread out throughout, so we'll do them all at once. There's only one this time.
Make a motion, we accept the bids of the property.
Okay. And for this property, the bid was $151. So, you know. All right, there was a second, so all right. All right, court to discuss and consider seeking bids for the sale of the Scurry County Golf Course and all buildings and fixtures attached thereto, including the pro shop and clubhouse containing approximately 87.94 acres, and to discuss bid specifications and the timeline thereof. Okay, so this was brought up at our last public hearing. In the first 3 minutes, someone said that they would like to put a bid on the property. There are two sides to every issue. I'm not one to say we're not going to do that, or we're not going to allow any kind of comment on that. So I think if the idea comes up, it's something that the court needs to vote on. It's not my place to say, no, the court's not going to talk about that. So with that in mind, that's why this is on the agenda. So I think there's a presentation that's going to be made. So if you would like to talk to us about that.
My name is Dawn O'Dell, and I would just first like to say thank you for allowing me to come here again to speak. And boy, oh boy, has this been a journey to come full circle back in front of the Commissioner's Court. I've been inside the country club twice now. The experience was anything but enjoyable. I would describe it more like a sci-fi film. I was masked and walked through a mold-infested building in the dark, carrying a flashlight, walking from room to room in complete filth. The walls were falling apart. There was even urine on the floor. Each room different, but each one robbed of its valor and glory and being left to die a slow, horrible death. So here we are to inform you of the findings that we found, and it's more than black mold. There is also asbestos, lead paint, and a huge amount of termite damage. The cleanup's going to be extensive. The cleanup, what we would do first is start with the golf course, repairing the outside restrooms on the course. They have asbestos and would need to be removed. Those buildings will be demolished and then a complete rebuild. Repaving the cart path and fixing the leaks and giving it some much needed TLC. And then moving on to the country club, the restaurant, and etc. Starting with the mold removal and the remediation, the termite control, the asbestos, and the lead removal. This is going to include massive remodeling of the structure from the termites and the mold. This is what the eye can see. There's more. There's stuff that's lurking the walls, the creepy stuff, that hides where it's living where you can't see. So we're estimating approximately $400,000, and that's the best case scenario. Just to repair the country club. Not repair, clean the country club. We were informed that all the ceilings, the roof, had to be removed and replaced, but only after treatment. This is going to be a toxic removal site. Anything and everything inside that building will be treated and decontaminated before it could leave the building. This is not going to be a quick and easy fix. Then we would like to start to rebuild the structure after it's been cleaned, and revamp what was left for dead and breathe life back into it. I believe that this is in the best interest of the county to walk away from the mounting debt of the country club and the golf course and put it up for public bid or sale. Let an independent person who wants to bring life back into Scurry County and take that debt off of your table. Including the residents, that we'd give them opportunity for employment opportunities and adding it to be a, tourist spot, mark it on your list of must-see places, wedding venue, to a relaxing dinner date, weekend golf games with buddies. I envision 3 pools, tennis courts, golf carts, repaved path. I have a vision. I have a vision of what I want it to be, and I want to give something Snyder can be proud of. A place where members and their families can make memories, beautiful hometown feel, with more to offer than just a golf course and a beat-up path. The residents of this county deserve to have all of that, that it was once, and more. The county itself doesn't need the piling debt. I believe it's a win-win situation for everybody. Although it may not seem that way, there are some that doesn't like the change, some that thinks it's fine just the way it is. Who doesn't want this town to grow and become greater than it's ever been? But I think that we should breathe life back into Scurry County, not just for the country club, but it's a good place to. I was looking at some numbers, and we're talking a deficit just in the golf course alone of $276,000 one year, and 231,000 one year. And I mean, let's take it off the table and make it someone else's debt. It's a condemned building, has no value. It's going to cost a lot to repair and rebuild. But my group is willing to do that. And we brought pictures, and we were kind of flashing them around so the people could see what the inside of that country club looks like. It is, a lot of people thought it wasn't true, that it was just made up, that there was no black mold. Well, I hired someone who said there is black mold, there is asbestos, there is lead paint, and it is a mess. That place is horrid. The walls are falling apart from the termite damage. There's a picture in here where I thought somebody dumped dirt on the floor, and it was termites. That was their feces and the wood, and it really looked like somebody just dumped a wheelbarrow of dirt on the floor. It's a lot of work, but I want it. So I want to put it, out here that I think that would be in the best interest. Instead of mounting debt for the county and the taxpayers, we're willing to take that on.
Okay, thank you. I do have a few questions. So you have a vision, and you've mentioned a lot of things in that vision. How much are you proposing that vision cost?
Just to get it cleaned.
No, not just, you said the cleaning would be 400,000.
Oh, easy.
Right,
But
so to remediate, once you get the cleaning done, after that, you're talking about revamping, redoing, adding the pool, you said 3 pools,
Yes.
adding tennis courts. How much are you proposing all of that is going to cost you?
Anywhere from probably right between 1.5 and $2 million.
Is that something that whoever's buying it feels like they, or would put the bid in, feels like that they could afford?
Depending on what you think a condemned property can go for, with the bid. But this is something that we want to give back to the community. So I've been here, this is like my 3rd, 4th time here speaking. It's not something that I want to just like push under the rug and make it go away. This is something we want. It's not just the golf course, it's the country club. It's life back to this county. I haven't even been here 2 years. There's not a lot to do here. And I'd like to see more while y'all are golfing, bring your kids, let them play basketball, let them play tennis, let them go swimming.
Okay.
I mean, it could be big for the whole community.
Okay. There's another issue at hand in that it's the one of the places that the schools play. They practice there on a regular basis, daily, and they play tournaments out there on occasion. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think that would not change at all. I think that's great.
Would you charge the schools to do
No,
that?
I don't think that there would be a charge for the schools. I think the kids would still be able to practice for free.
Mhm.
And then the tournaments, I think that would just remain the same. That's community involvement, and that's kind of what we're looking for.
Okay.
We want community involvement. I mean, yes, there'll be membership fees,
Mhm.
you know, but last month it was documented you only had 26 members.
Is that accurate? I don't know.
That's what I read in the paper.
You read it in the paper?
Yes, 26 members.
Okay. I think that it's, if I remember correctly, it said it
That was minimum.
minimum. Okay.
August attendance with golf course, the minimum was 26 one day.
Okay, so it wasn't members, that was attendance.
Okay, that.
So
I was
that's a
like,
big difference. That's a huge difference.
So,
Are there any questions from the court to Ms. Waddell?
To the court, I have.
Hang on just a minute. You-
Okay, I clipped this out of the paper. And it has the MGA, Men's Golf Association. It's gonna be played at Sammy Ball Golf Course, in that WTC golf course, okay. Our FFA, they're gonna do a scramble again at WTC Golf Course. Snyder ISD Golf Tournament is gonna be again played at WTC Golf Tournament. Or at the golf course for
Okay.
these tournaments. That's 3 tournaments right there
Okay,
that the country club's missing out on because, I mean, you can bring in, if you had a restaurant, people could eat there.
okay, so do you know what happens whenever WTC has a tournament? Everybody who's not playing in that tournament goes out to our golf course
But
and they
still,
play out there.
the thing about it is that you could free up the country club to do that if it was a good course and done well. And if you have restaurants, they can go eat out there. I mean, people do eat out there. I remember as a child at the country club when I was a kid here, it was a treat because my friend was Sarah Fagan. I could go out to the country club and we could go swim. We could play tennis. We could do all those things. My parents were too poor. We were farmers. We didn't have the money to go to the country club. But that was a treat. She had birthday parties. She had everything out there. It was cool. We had great friends.
Sure. And
And I want
now
to see that
we have,
again.
now anybody can go out there.
But I want to see
You don't have
that
to have a
again, though.
membership to go.
There's
So,
no swimming pool, there's no restaurants, there's no tennis
you're
courts.
right.
I mean, that's just my opinion. But I've taught for 26 years in Andrews. The reason why they could have 9 championships, women's championships, at their school is because the little ones go out on that golf course with their parents.
Does anybody know how many state championships we have here in Snyder?
Many.
For years, we have.
This has
We-
been
we-
9 for the last,
Practice out there every day.
but this is 9 in the last 10 years.
We
I missed
are,
out 1 year.
we're
That was
extremely close to
Oh.
that ourselves, in both
But
boys
have
and
you
girls.
done it recently? No, yes. No, you haven't.
We've done it
Okay,
in the
Um,
2000s, for sure.
But
okay,
you haven't done
so-
it, because I've been there, 9 championships, I've seen the rings, and I've seen the trophies. I just want
With
to
the
bring this
business
back
part
to
or
life.
with the golf course?
Both.
Okay, well, I've been in the oil field business and built businesses for almost 20 years. The golf course, this is a new interest for me, but the people that I work with, they're golfers. They all love golf. So, that, my interest is not necessarily the golf course itself. My interest is in the country club, that part, making the county breathe again, like bringing that back. Would not be directly involved in the golf course activities, but I would be in the country
I
club
don't mean to be
activities.
derogatory, but do you have a financial backing to do this? I mean, it's gonna be.
It is gonna be extensive. Yes, we do have financial backing to do this.
Is your,
Does the county
is
have the
construction-
backing? No.
Is
Okay.
yours a construction company that can do most of the work?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
That's what I thought.
okay. Mr. Mackey, you wanted to make some comments? Steve Mackey?
Am I the only one here that's signed up?
No,
for
sir,
that?
you're not. I did.
Sure, I'll go
I
ahead.
didn't see this.
No, sir.
I like it as is, where it is, the way it is right
You
now.
want-
Sue's doing an excellent job running the golf course. We do need to keep the golf course. I don't care one way or another on the country club.
personally. I'm interested in the golf course. Because right now I play at the MGA, I'm secretary at the MGA, WPC, so I know a little bit about that too. And we do have tournaments out at the country club now.
But you got 3 already. You said the school does it. Well, they could do that.
Anyway, I like it the way it's being run right now. I'm very interested in the golf course and how that's being run and how that's gonna be done and the cost of that if it's done differently.
Ms. Summers?
My question is, does the school not have a contract with the golf course that they should be paying? And if so, do they pay that? If not, why does the court not make sure that the school pays what they're supposed to pay? Also,
We have an interlocal agreement with the school. They don't pay anything to go out there. It's an interlocal agreement.
if the people that currently use the golf course are satisfied with as is, they're satisfied with it losing money every year. So I don't think I would be satisfied with that, and it shouldn't be. The golf course should be put up for sale or bid and be out from under the county to run because it loses money.
Ms. Penny Perry?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Penny Perry, and I'm representing myself and the Ladies Golf Association and the general membership of Scurry County Golf Course.
Speak up, Penny.
So I'm,
Take your voice.
How many members also, please?
I'm sorry, what?
How many members of the Ladies Golf Association that you're representing?
The Ladies Golf Association, we have, anywhere from 15 to 20 that come out and play. We play every Tuesday.
Okay.
And
Okay, I'm
many
sorry.
times in between that.
Sorry to interrupt. I just
No,
wanted
thank
to
you.
see how many you were
Um,
representing.
We are here to ask the court not to seek bids to sell the golf course, especially the golf course and the other facilities. The course is an asset to our community. Like many county facilities, the golf course is a quality of life asset. Not every Scurry County resident uses every facility of the county, but they all have a place in our community, and we need all facilities to attract new residents and businesses to our community. One 9-hole golf course is not big enough to hold all the play for the community of our size, especially with all the golf teams that use them and the general play of both courses. Will force many players to spend money in other communities. Our course is on the mend, and the losses that you talk about, that was back before, within the last 3 years. It's in the best shape it's ever been in years because of Sid and his crew. In the golf world, the better shape that the golf course is in, the more play it receives. And so I feel that this will only increase because you're not going to want to play a golf course that's not in good shape. That's just how it is in the golf world. There is no guarantee that the buyers will actually do what they say they're going to do. It is sound very glamorous. Okay, but it could go totally private, or even the first buyer. If it doesn't work out, future buyers may not do what they say they're going to do. And it could have a long-term effect on our adverse effect on our community. This has happened to several small courses around West Texas, Colorado City, different courses that a buyer comes in, they mean well, but nothing, they realize the extensive expense, and it doesn't happen. And it doesn't turn out exactly how they think it's going to. We feel that the county needs to have control of the facility to protect the future of the community. Our LGA has committed to host the 2021 Lone Star tournament that lasts 5 days. We'll bring in this is our 3rd time to host it. We'll bring in a lot of money to Snyder and our golf course. And like I said, we have already committed to that last year. We need to be able to know that we're going to be able to host that. And as far as the buildings go, we could have a lot more tournaments if the buildings were fixed where we had a place to feed and host, other tournaments. I think the facilities there are an asset. I know it's going to take a lot to clean those up. That's something that you know, I know taxpayers don't want that, but something that the county could, clean up and rent out like they do the Armory. And we do need those facilities to host more tournaments. And again, thank you for hearing me, and we ask that you not seek bids to sell the golf course and its facilities
Okay, and you're speaking for the entire group, correct?
for the Ladies Golf Association, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you. Mr. Talbot, did you have some comments?
Well, I got some comments to make,
I just say that because you filled out. a form.
and I don't have any prepared comments, but I have lived here 60 years. And we're lucky to live in Scurry County. Most people don't realize it. The majority of our taxes are paid from a zip code other than from Scurry County. And that's because of the oil fields in the county, and most counties don't have that. I've been involved in the golf course for most of that 60 years. It's not going to make money. Lots of amenities in nice communities don't make money, but it's part of what we live in. And the counties and the cities and the communities have to support that. I think it's a mistake to sell it. It's not going to make money. They don't make money. If you check all the small oil field towns in West Texas, which I have done many times, the golf courses all failed, and most of the counties have them, including Andrews. The county owns the Andrews Golf Course. Monahans and Andrews are lucky because they're close to Midland, Odessa. They both have 18-hole courses, and they get a lot of play from Midland, Odessa in those counties. We are not going to get that here. We're going to get what we pay for here, and it's good for our area and our community. And somebody say they can come in and do that. I've been involved in it, like I said, for 60 years, and you're not going to make money out there. It's going to cost the community, just like the parks, the schools, the library, the airport, the Coliseum, but that's part of the community we live in. And if you want to make the community good, we're going to have to pay a little bit for it. And it's going to cost us, some of us, a little bit of tax, not very much locally. A lot more coming in on the zip codes and out of town. And if everybody thinks about it a little bit, that's the best way for us to go, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Who is here in support of the county retaining the golf course? If you would show me, please. Okay. Who is here in support of bidding it out? That is quite a statement to me. That there's a huge amount of support to maintain.
We're not an association.
No, I'm not saying that you are, but she is.
Us to a golf association, and that's not a comparison to be made.
Okay, I'm not talking about the association. I'm talking about the folks that are actually here.
Can we vote? Can I ask a question?
You can ask a question.
To a vote in the county?
I'm sorry?
Can this be put to a vote with the county?
An election for something like that would be just too expensive to even
You're gonna do it with the rollback, so why not add that too?
Okay.
I mean, I'm just
Are
saying.
there any other comments from?
And
Commissioner Clark
also,
on
I
this?
just want to
Yeah,
make
I'd
one more
like to
comment.
say that I want to amen to Brother Talbot. He's exactly right. Now, I'm not a very smart man, but I know how to read. And I've read everything that I could about golf courses, and I don't even throw a golf ball, much less hit one. There's 3 golf courses in Florida right now that the commissioner court is catching HELL over. Wanting them to close it down, close it down, close it down. They're not gonna do it. Just like he says, we got to have something for folks to do. Now, it may not be on your plate, and it may not be on my plate, but we ain't got the only place in town. Everybody else has got plates. Now then, I'm gonna say this about the building. That dang thing ought to be shoved down and covered up and carted off. I don't want, now this is just my opinion, so I don't wanna say like I'm running this sucker, I sure ain't. I'm a low man on a totem pole. But I don't want the county to be helped in any way 5 years from now, if somebody comes down with something and that thing's been painted, brushed over, blowed out, washed up, done everything you could to clean it up, and somebody comes up with that deadly stuff that they say is in there. And I think it's very well possible, and I sure don't want this county, and I think you bought it. I think 5 years from now, somebody come up with it, I think they could still come back on us over that. Because it was ours and we sold it to you. I'm not for that. I'm sure not. Now, I think there ought to be some kind of, he's right, this thing don't make money. Only way you can make money is have your bar, get a few people to come into it, go down there on the back end of that thing down there and put you some ladies apparel stuff that they wear on that deal around and let them go down there and buy it and do that kind of stuff like that. Besides all that, charge you rent for the buildings. You might could make a little money, but you ain't gonna cook enough hamburgers out there to make money. It don't work. It don't work. It's about like farming. So I think we ought to all back off. I'm not for doing the doggone thing like now. I went out there at that doohickey on my ears, nose this day, but I want to come out of there anyway, out of the stinking outfit. But, I ain't got a vote right now, but I'm for it being just like it is.
You know, we tried very hard to make that country club work, and Ladies Golf Association knows we did. And we even, the guys, 2 pros that we all wanted and that neglected it after a short period of time and even admitted it to us that they did because of the Brownfield Country Club. They didn't know why. I talked to them after it was all over, and they didn't know why that they neglected it the way they did. But it was because somebody down there had more money than they had sense and built something that was awesome, expensive, and they just got stars in their eyes. But we had a chef out of Houston or Austin one that came here, and there weren't enough people to come out there to eat to make anything work. And then we had problems because they didn't do what we asked them to do and get the architect that we had to put roof on that building out there. And that's where Black Mo started, because they hired a fly by night and they didn't let us know. We got tons of rain and they didn't let us know that it was leaking like that. And I asked them, I said, where's the roof that we told you, where's the architect that we told you to get and put that roof on and make the engineer, building envelope specialist, I believe is what he's called from Armco. Oh, well, we just didn't feel like that was money well spent. I said, well, you know, the roof is the most important part of that. But they hired several different chefs out there. They had the bar. They just knew that that was going to make it go. But it just wasn't enough. And so, you know, we need to tear that thing down and cart it off, like Commissioner Craig said, and we need to build something smaller. And that's been talked about. Something that can actually work in this community. Have a nice little restaurant. Have a few things there, meeting rooms that we can have, like the Ladies Golf Association has had before. And keep this thing going. No, we can't make it like this Brownwood thing, but we can have something for all of us to be proud of going into the future, knowing that it's going to be there as long as the taxpayers of this community are interested in in paying the taxes on that thing for what it doesn't make. I think it's in the best shape it's ever been as well. Even with the amount of, the small amount of rain that we've gotten, those guys have done an amazing job to keep that up. And it's something to be proud of. For those that golf and even those that don't, I drive by there all the time and it is always busy. And I think that it's something that we definitely can work with and be proud of in our community and know that it's going to continue to exist as long as the taxpayers want to support it.
Could I say, they had a bar and grill out there. But when they shut down and left, they left owing taxes on the liquor. Who paid for that?
They should.
I couldn't say who paid for that. I would think that would follow them.
Well, they left. Ended
If
up
they
owing
had a liquor
liquor
license,
taxes.
they have to pay the
They
taxes
had a
on the liquor
license.
license.
We never had a license. It was them. They'll have to face the bureau over that. They just, I agree. It was,
Everything. They sold the bees, they sold the cooler that'd been out there forever and ever.
we thought. that-
Nor did they bill the people when they were supposed to.
You're right.
So that's where a lot of that debt and indebtedness came from.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge. My name is Maureen Morris. I am a member of the Ladies Golf Association. I have played out here for 10 years. I live in Mitchell County, and we had a golf course there that was a country club, and it couldn't make it either. And somebody privately bought it and tried to run it, and I drive to Scurry County and play. If anybody's been to the golf course in Mitchell County, it is not very nice, especially for a woman to go play. I'm talking about bathrooms. Anyway, I just want to say I appreciate this golf course here. It is in great shape. It is an asset to the community. And I know another lady from Mitchell County that drives over here to play. And you're right, ladies do spend a lot of money playing golf. I drive up here 2 or 3 times a week to play, and I play in lots of tournaments, and I spend a lot of money when I do it. Golf courses are an asset to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you have any comments? I will entertain a, yes, sir.
I would just like to add, I'm Bill Robertson. I'm not a member of the Ladies Golf. I am a member of the golf course, and I would consider myself a golf fanatic. I had occasion to speak recently with the chief designer for Tom Watson Design, the Tom Watson golfer, who actually came to Snyder to visit with me, and I took him out. That's who you met, Sid. Bob Gibbons was his name. And we toured the course, and he enjoyed the sand, even said. He said that Tom Watson loves that sand. But his point was, because we were talking about courses in the middle of nowhere. Now, Snyder's not necessarily in the middle of nowhere. We're smack dab in the middle of a lot of things. But using that perspective, big courses like the Sandhill course, the Valley Neal course in Colorado, that are multi-million-dollar investments. And I was talking about clubhouses and other amenities involved. And he said, well, Bill, actually, the Sandhill course, which is considered one of the top 10 golf courses in the country, started with a mobile home as the pro shop. They concentrated on the asset, which was the golf course, and certainly the cart paths, which we all agree need to be drastically reformed, but not the clubhouse. So while it would be wonderful to have the old country club building that we enjoyed so many years ago, that's not, I don't think, any golfer's priority. Our priority is beautiful fairways, beautiful greens, great cart paths, and then it becomes a genuine asset for not only people coming from Mitchell County, but for schools that want to have tournaments there, where there's a revenue source, where more members want to join, but it is still completely open to the public. So it's essentially a semi-private club, but you can go there and play just randomly if you like. So regarding the big clubhouse, that is an eyesore. It is a danger. I don't think you'll find a golfer. It'd be lovely to have a place for people to sit and enjoy a drink, but the priority is quality golf. And that's what Sid has restored to the grounds. That golf course has completely fallen from grace, and now it's in spectacular his staff and Darla and her staff. But that's a smaller bone. If you don't have to worry about the clubhouse and having the grill, and we go out there and play golf and we'll go somewhere else, that's fine. So just wanted to throw that out there. That's probably gonna, I'm not gonna speak for everybody, but the golf course is the big asset.
Sure. All right, thank you. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to accept bids. No motion. Okay. All right, we are not gonna take bids for the golf course. We're gonna maintain the golf course. I believe, thank you. I do believe it's an asset for Scurry County to own that. And my fear would be the same fears that you have for Mitchell County golf course. In great intentions aside, it's a huge, it would be a huge expense, $1.5 to $2 million if we were to bid it out, and if they were to win the bid. I'm not saying they couldn't do it, but I don't want to take that risk personally. It's an asset. We need to keep it, and we're going to. There are some ideas. I would like to get with the Ladies Golf Association, Men's Golf Association sometime. I have some ideas. I know you have some ideas. Let's get together and figure some of those out so that we can head in the right direction with it, like the cart paths and some of the other things that need to be taken care of. I play out there on occasion, and I know some of the cart paths in areas are terrible, and they need to be fixed. So, yes, ma'am.
I would like to say that, thank you to these ladies for
Yes.
caring.
Absolutely.
They've done a lot of work, they've done a lot of research, and I don't think they had any ill intentions.
Never.
I appreciate your effort to make Snyder a better place.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yes, sir.
I just want to say one thing, Dan. I agree with you. If you would like to get together with us, if you will just let us know, that's our whole vision too out there. Is we want to make it better. We want to improve it. Whatever we can do to help, we want to do that.
Absolutely.
And the ladies as well, us those guys that play out there every day, that's a spot for us to enjoy. So we want to make it better, and we don't want to just make it better for ourselves, but we want to make it better for other people to come and enjoy. So if you will let us know what we can do, get with y'all to help y'all, we will be more than glad to do that.
Okay, I just need contact information, and we will set it up. And I will, if I can have your contact information after the meeting, or you can drop it off at my office, I will get a hold of you, and we'll figure something out. Look at the direction we need to go with it. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, court to discuss and take possible action to ratify the property tax revenue increase in the 2020 Scurry County budget. Anybody like to speak on the budget? Yes.
You won't-
So, ready?
I want to address something.
Okay, all right.
This right here is my property tax statement. I got several copies if anybody like one. Okay. And the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm gonna hit the highlights. My total tax bill, $6,325. $1,100 of that goes to Scurry County.
Can you give me that?
1/6. And my point is, for $1,100 a year, and I'm not trying to change anybody's mind or anything, I just want the decision that you make later is educated and informed. And I'll respect your decision, whether I like it or not. I will respect it. But for that $1,100 a year, we've got a fabulous ambulance service, which me and my family have used. Sheriff's office several times. Scurry County Library by my kids and my wife to this day. The Senior Citizen Center wife and her mother. We got pretty good county roads where I live. You're gonna go someplace else. We get to register our cars in this county and not have to drive somewhere else. The health department does the immunizations, which is really handy, especially if you got kids or need a tetanus shot. The Scurry County Museum is the history of our county, which I have to admit, when I was in school, I went out there a whole lot, but that's the Parks Department, July 4th. There's several thousand people enjoy that, not just 4th of July, car show, this, that, and the other. And the JP's office, JP's 1 and 2. You get caught by the DPS for speeding, you can just go right down here and pay it. And that is a lot that Scurry County pays for my $1,100 that I may not enjoy all of it, but I have enjoyed it at one time or another. And one other thing, if there is a rollback, I'm gonna get $260 back total. If there is a rollback. I don't like the taxes. I don't like buying groceries or gasoline or electricity, but it's part of it. And the oil companies are paying 95% of this budget. If it is rolled back, the major oil producer, number one, is going to back $663,000. The second biggest will get back 189. The average home in Scurry County, average, I said, valued at $84,000. If you have a homestead exemption, you pay $303. If they don't, you pay $379. If you roll it back with a homestead exemption, you're going to get back $67. It really won't. Without a homestead exemption, you're going to get back to 84. Let's say that the rollback does happen. You'll possibly lose, if not lose completely, a lot of people that makes the entities we have function as efficiently as they do. And I think for $260, it ain't worth it. Because I'm gonna use Jason, his ambulance service. He knows nothing about this. He has this budget. But boy, when you need him, it don't matter. And the other thing is he generates $1 million in revenue every year that fluctuates. So if we lose the ambulance service, we don't only get to lose the budget of $1.8 billion. We've got to take the $1 million in revenue that he generates out because it's not going to be there. And that goes with for all the other ones that generate revenue, be it big golf course, generate revenue. Scurry County Senior Citizens generates revenue. So I ask that, because this is all going to come up, I'm relatively sure, that you make an informed decision. And if you want to talk to me, you can call me anytime. You can find me at the office. You can find me at the yard. If you see me in town, I don't care. 24 hours a day. And anybody that wants one of these, I've got some up there. I'm not hiding nothing. If you want to check the figures, I've told Janet Young, anybody that goes down there that wants the original, what she sends me for the tax bill, to please give it to you. So, thank you, Judge. Court. I'll shut up.
Well, after he come up with his, I decided to get the little lady to fix my breakfast. With ours too, it's not a pretty deal. The home that we live in went down $7. The house out there on the place, it went down $17. Kicking a fat one. The ranch land, for some reason, with all them steel electric poles on it, went up $100 that I don't understand. How in the world it could be worth more money with their poles on my land? I don't know. But it's supposed to be. Our old big oil check went up $23. We pay a total last year of $8,107. We pay a total this time of $8,206. It went up $99. I don't know where I'm gonna get it at. So that stuff about it just running rampant is a bunch of bull. It just, if we're gonna sit still in this county, we can do it cheaper. Yeah, we can do it a lot cheaper. We can get rid of 3 of us, do it a heck of a lot cheaper. But you know, I don't think folks want it like that. You know, what can happen if we just keep going on down this road about we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that? Well, nobody's gonna buy that senior citizen. Nobody. And if I have it my way, people getting old, just like you said, nobody's gonna buy his deal. I've got to get the love. So, guess what? The next big deal is, the only thing I know to do is just cut the swimming pool out. What's the kids gonna do all summer? Besides aggravate, they take that on mom and dad because they ain't got nowhere to go. I don't think that's gonna happen. I truly hope and pray that some people come to their senses and go to thinking about other things besides themselves. You can put that in your pipe and smoke it. Thank you.
I don't think that people, for the most part, truly understand what small portion of tax burden that the county proper is for what we do. I think you can look at all the towns around us, all the counties around us, and try to compare them to Scurry County, and it's impossible to do it. I don't believe they've got anywhere near the quality of life the county enjoys, and for the very reason of what Mr. Talbot was talking about, of us being an oil field town. We have everything. And just to reiterate some of what Sean has said, and maybe Commissioner Craig, we have the library here. Most cities have libraries. We have the airport. A lot of cities have airports. Not the county. We have the senior citizen center, the health unit, the museum, the EMS, the parks, the youth center, the golf course. We have the welfare office that we support. We support DPS. We have all of the courts that the state mandates us statutorily. Those have to be there. The district clerk, the county clerk, the county attorneys, the district attorneys, the district judge, the county judge. That all of those things have got to be in place, and for good reason. But what most people don't get, and they don't like to hear it, some people don't, of unfunded mandates. That is something that the state legislature, every time they're in session, bring more and more of these good ideas down to counties for the property taxpayer to pay. If you remove those, and lots of states have already stopped the legislatures in their states from being able to give you a good idea to pay for without the state coming up with the money. They've done away with it. And some of them as long as 15 years ago. When it comes right down to it, the total tax burden would be 9%, less than 10% of the total tax burden in this county would be the county itself. For all the things that the county pays for, less than 10% of the total tax burden would come from this county, would be paid into this county. Now, people, just because they pay Jana, the tax assessor, down at her office, they get the idea that the county gets all the money. It just isn't true. I paid $600 to the county last year. I paid $5,600 for all my tax burden. And so it just, we need to really see what we're paying for and what we're getting for what we pay, and realize that it's not the county that's not efficient. And that's something that Commissioner Merritt has said here several times. Whenever he was sitting on the other side of the table, he was talking just like a lot of others. But when he got over here and I saw him going through the budgets time and time and time. I stopped by every once in a while, say, well, have you found what you thought you would? Well, not yet. Well, he finally came to the conclusion, and especially as we went through budget hearings, that these are some of the most efficient departments there are anywhere. They do not spend money that they don't have to. They go to continuing education classes, and they bring back mounds of pens to use in their offices. They bring back paper, anything that they're giving away free, and they give a lot of stuff away free. They're bringing it back right here, and if it's something they can't use, they put it in the break room for other people to use. Some people don't understand the frugality of the people. I've been here a long time, and I'm just amazed at how frugal and how efficient that our offices run. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Jim, do you want to say anything?
No, I just, y'all have already said all that needs to be said. I think we need to go with this tax rate as it is. And all three of y'all have spoken, and I agree with every one of you. That's the way it is.
I've prepared something to say, but I'm going to say that after I give all of y'all an opportunity to speak. Mr. Berry.
Okay, I have one question. There's conflicting reports that I've read. For example, what does this new tax rate add to your bill?
County bill,
County bill.
none, because the tax rate we're looking at is the same as last year. The only reason your tax bill would go up on Scurry County is if your evaluations went up, which is not us. But the tax rate of $44.98 is the same as it was last year.
Okay, well, it was presented that this would be, it was an increase.
That It's the same tax rate as last year, and I appreciate y'all doing that for us. But it's the same tax rate as it was last year. The only way that anybody's taxes will go up would be if your valuation went up, and most of them didn't. They stayed the same or they went down. Mine went down. I don't know why.
It's been presented that, there's that difference between the rollback and the others. And
There is.
Yeah, I know there's a difference, but the way it's been presented many times, and maybe some of the misunderstanding is that it's an increase. And people are afraid of having their taxes go up.
Sure. Absolutely. And there's still people saying that that people's taxes are going to go up 20%. They're not. They're not going up. It's the same. If your value went up 20%, yeah, it's going to go up. But if you bring me one and show me, I'll believe it. But I don't believe that anybody's really went up 20% right now. But it's being told that our taxes or people's tax rate is going up 20%. So that's going to be inaccurate information.
And so from this, the increase in the budgetary amounts coming in is due to the increased appraisals of the properties in the county.
Increased appraisals, mostly 54%, is it 54 or 56% in mineral values. That's where the money's coming from.
Okay.
Not from property values. Property values across the board went up 8%. Okay. So that's minimal compared to 54% of mineral values.
Those should probably be put out there to help clarify.
We have been trying to do that, and it's just not getting out for whatever reason. So.
That guy back there.
Mr. West?
Okay. The reason things are going up is because y'all have increased 28.62%. This is y'all's figures. Y'all ran this in the ag on your revenue. You're going up $2.7 million next year.
The revenues are coming in based on raised mineral values.
But that's it's not all mineral values.
54% mineral values.
Well, whatever. It's not all mineral values. And then another thing, when the oil field slows down and prices go down next year, we're gonna be stuck with this rate.
No, sir, we set a rate every year. So it could go up, it could go down, it could stay the same.
It never goes down, it always goes up.
No, sir.
Your effective rate.
It's gone down 4 times since 2012.
Would be raising the same amount of money for the same property. But like I say, y'all are adding this budget and making it nearly $3 million bucks
But
more
all that's
next
getting
year.
mentioned is a 3% raise and $1 million in reserves.
No.
They're not talking about how we have to replace software, court software that has to be replaced. Okay, if we don't replace it, it's $270,000 that we have to pay for servers. That's not being mentioned. All that keeps getting harped on is that 3% raise. They're not mentioning that we need to buy new voting machines. Voting machines are, I want my vote counted. I want every vote counted. And if they're not, if something's wrong with those voting machines, the software's bad, or there's something wrong with those, we have major issues there. That's $167,000. That's just 2 examples of what we're paying for that's not getting out there. It's stuff that hasn't been done in the past that has to be done now. We're something 50 some odd updates behind on our software, and each one has to be done to get to the end point. We can't get the company that provides that software to help us out. So if my office needed to use the software and I have to do an update on it, and I call them up and say, I need you to help me do this update, they'll tell me how to do it, but I have to do it myself. They won't come out and do it for us. I'm not a software writer. I don't know anything about that stuff. We have a lot of employees who have learned how to do that. And so it takes away from what they're supposed to be doing. And so that's one of the major issues that we have. There's a lot of other things that are out there that haven't been taken care of. Talk about the fuel truck came up, $35,000. That is a truck that's worn completely out. I was told about a situation where the starter, the wires burn apart or something like that, and then there was a fuel leak at a separate time. Imagine if those 2 things had happened at the same time. We'd be talking about this huge fireball out there at the airport. We don't want that. If we don't replace equipment, as it needs to be replaced, we end up in the situation where we are now. We also end up in the situation where we drop that top tax rate back down so far, like it was done in 2012, where you start spending all that reserve money. We had $10 million, over $7 million in reserves in 2012. When I came into office in January, there was zero, no money. So we can't keep living like that. You know, it's been brought up 2008 rates. 2008 was 11 years ago. Can anybody live at your home on what you were making in 2008? It's not possible. Food's gone up, groceries, fuel has gone up, everything goes up. Price of clothes has gone up, everything goes up. So we can't go backwards. We need to start moving forwards. And all we're asking is the opportunity to get us into a good place where we can start moving forward instead of trying to maintain what is falling apart in some areas. Not everything's falling apart. There were some things that were done that I believe should have been budgeted. But if we continue to maintain that, we can't move forward, and our services are going to continue to suffer. So, and that kind of covers most of what I had in here. You know, I'll say some of these things. You know, quality of life departments, the parks, library, airport, and golf course for some. Go through the park any day, and I guarantee you will see that it is just full of people. If we cut that department or tell them they can't have the new mower or whatever they need out there, we're not going to have the same beautiful parks that we have where people want to go out there and just maybe even sit at one of the benches, hopefully one of these benches that we're going to get from the Lions Club, and sit and eat lunch or just enjoy themselves or walk their dog. You know, we're trying to get ahead of where we've been, and we can't do that by going backwards. So Craig and I, we've been here 9 months, and we're just asking for a chance.
So
to
I
get us
have
there.
a question, and you're talking about the tax rates.
Yes.
So the budget's affected by tax rates maybe not being increased through the years maybe.
Correct.
Versus the handling of the county budget.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So we're going to find
So it's not just one thing
It's not just
that
one thing.
anybody can say, oh, it's just the county spending money, or,
Right.
and let me use that word that gets thrown around a lot, is frivolous.
Frivolous,
You know,
yeah.
is what I'm saying.
No, we have 28 different departments, all right, 17 elected officials here in Scurry County. So they're all gonna have needs. If you cut my department 10%, it's $21,000 out of my department. And I lose Cynthia down there, who is just fantastic at what she does. She does more than I ever could dream of doing in a day. And if I lose that, I'm totally lost. So I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose 10% of my budget. You know, that's just one of the things. So in
So 10% of your budget in these precincts, stick a fork in it.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. So in 2012, the rate was dropped from 31.36 to 39.89, 8 cents. And that's when the spending out of the reserve started. We are now trying to get back to where we need to be. Someone mentioned artificially inflating expenses. I'm sorry, revenues were artificially inflated and expenses were artificially deflated. We're not doing that. We're telling you what we have. We're being as open as possible. We had a complaint about the camera going down a week ago. That's a YouTube issue. We can't control that. Well, when we figured out that camera was down, we don't have to have a camera. This was something that we did so that if you can't make it to a meeting, you can see what we're doing. We're not trying to hide anything. We're trying to be as open as possible. So, like I said, we're just asking to be given a chance to get us ahead of the game. And we're not going to be completely ahead of the game. We're talking about putting $1 million into an emergency reserve fund. That's a month. That's a month of operations. If we have a tornado come through here and it wipes us out, and it's going to be 3 or 4 months before we can get up and going again, do we want to borrow? We would have to borrow the money. I don't want to be in that situation. Our credit rating's already dropped. That's another thing that the reserves affects. If you don't have any money in the bank, your credit rating drops. Okay, it dropped last year. I'm expecting it to drop again because we have even less than we had last year. So if we need to borrow money, we have a higher interest rate. Who pays that higher interest rate? We all do on our taxes. So we're just trying to get ahead of the game.
And it's not gonna be overnight. It took several years to get in this position. It's gonna take several to get out of it slowly. But we need the chance to get the ball started.
They actually say you need 6 months
6 months. Yes, sir.
in your reserve.
Right.
And again, that wasn't a reserve 2 years ago.
Correct.
That wasn't nothing but just a pot that you whirled it out and got it out of. There wasn't a reserve in it.
Sure. But I want to get to where we do that.
That's right.
But that's my point on all of this, so. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to point out that, people that are using the word frivolous is that side of the table. Y'all have admitted.
Okay, that
Yes,
that was mentioned
no,
one time by
I-
this court,
I've
and
signed
that's
the
it.
form to speak, and I'm gonna speak. Frivolous has been used by the court. That is where this side of the table is getting that word from. Overestimating revenue and underestimating expenses comes from that side. It's quoted. That side's the one that's saying it.
That was me
Do not imply that it's the citizens using these words.
using it now.
Okay, I just
Because
addressed
it's a
that.
quote
I said
from
that
you.
had been said, and that we are no longer doing that. We are being as open as possible with the budget. So, all right, do I hear a motion? It would have to be this motion here. I'll go ahead and make a motion. I make a motion that Scurry County ratify the property tax revenue increase as shown in the proposed budget.
Second.
All in favor? It's unanimous. All right, and then we'll go ahead and do the next one.
5 yeas.
Record vote, motion to adopt the budget. I make a motion to adopt the 2020 Scurry County budget as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
16.
Anybody want to make this motion?
I'll
to
make a
approve the order?
motion to approve the order adopting the tax rate of 4.98 for the 2020 tax year.
It should be 4498.
It's 44. not
4498.
It says 49, but it's
It should be
44.
4498.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
44. Okay, I was reading what
Yeah,
it said there.
44.
4498 for FY 2020 tax year 2019 and levy the taxes.
All in favor? All right, thank you. That was unanimous as well. There's this. We've done that.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna consider certification of additional revenues in the form of proceeds from other counties for housing inmates. And I'd like to see this, we get money from other counties, Taylor County being one of those. And they pay us quite a bit of money.
Yes, we get a lot of money every month from Taylor County. We're certifying $33,480 in one receipt and $38,520 in another receipt. There will be a budget amendment for that and for additional revenues for the, you don't need that,
Oh, okay.
for the prisoner.
Make the motion, we accept the revenue from Taylor County for prisoner keep.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. Line item transfers and budget amendments.
We have two line item transfers. The first one is for the health unit for auto expense, $648.62 out of lab fees to cover the cost of repairs on the health unit pickup. The second one is for the Parks Department, park maintenance, repair, and miscellaneous, $18,980, and pool supplies, $628.70, coming from other equipment, operating supplies, education and training, park utilities, equipment, $1,000 to $5,000, totaling $19,608.71. transfer of money to cover unexpected road repairs due to a culvert on Tile Park Road. That's all the line item transfers. There's a budget amendment. There's one budget amendment for the jail, to go into food, $70,000, which is the cost of, obviously, of having more inmates. This cost, we have to feed them.
Sure.
And then he's had servers go down, for the security system in there, so he's had to replace some of those, and that's 24,000, so 94,000 going into those two lines of money that we just certified, and there was 23 that we had certified previously that had not been put to a line.
Okay, so that's
Make a motion, we approve all budget amendments and line item transfers.
all in favor? Thank you. And accounts payable?
Accounts payable total is $239,589.13.
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
All in favor? Thank you, everybody, for coming. We appreciate your input, and we're glad to have you anytime you want to come. We love you guys. I guess we'll make a motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
All in favor?
I'm telling you, come on.
I'll get it. I gotta go make a bunch of copies for everybody.
What does this look like to you?
It